think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words.
People love.
Yeah, I look at.
So the branding of those, of those particular guys, like it's a way if they wanted to do it, but all those guys,
they're kind of because, like you said, you looking like, okay. At the time, Martin was a standalone guy. Tori was a standalone. A lot of these guys are standalone.
Everyone's attention has been focused on the individuals whom Katt Williams publicly condemned, even though in his shocking interview from January, he also gently exposed his presenter Shannon Sharpe. Pay attention to Shannon's nonverbal cues. Shannon Sharpe, a former NFL player, has had a spectacular year in 2024. His on-air presence has beyond everyone's expectations. Others, on the other hand, contend Shannon wasn't and isn't as innocent as he seems to be. And there are frequent claims that he has hidden agendas. You and John Morant Pops had a furious fight your first time at a Laker game. This is not the appropriate way to act if you are a supporter of black people. Let me explain in greater detail. According to rumors, Big Shannon has been inviting people to programs and then utilizing whatever information they divulge during their sit-down to continuously expose them. He even did it against you, Steve Harvey, from a position of power. You meant to be harsh with my gaps. Here's Cedric's reaction, as you would anticipate from some of them, to Katt going all out on him. In his interview with Shannon, Shannon first reportedly asked celebrities such Steve Harvey and Cedric, the entertainer, whom he eventually called Katt, to serve as his megaphone and reveal their deepest secrets. To say that Shannon lived up to this brag would be an understatement. Just have a listen. These folks lack influence. There is nothing that Satan can create. What if someone told you the truth? And you were among the folks he is disparaging. Katt is claimed to have victimized Shannon Sharpe. Several other well-known Hollywood figures seem to be taking these accusations seriously and have begun to interrogate Shannon. Rapper Ma is one of them. Sonny the X Bad Boy stood his ground against the Hall of Famer.
Oh, Shannon said something?
He called me a fake pastor. Listen, Shannon, I'm not the one to play with. And let me go further than that. You wanted to be tough with Mike Epps, and you settled quicker than Diddy and Katt.
Shannon Sharpe hasn't taken a vacation since Katt Williams made an appearance on the Club Shay program back in January. Following the widely circulated interview view, he became the subject of several jokers and internet personalities, many of whom expressed homophobic views about the Hall of Famer. Next Friday, in a photo that quickly went popular on social media, comedian and actor Mike Epps also made reference to naming Sharpe zesty. What had first been only a straightforward charge quickly devolved into overt threats of bodily harm on both sides, although the two men resolved their disagreements amicably in the future. Fresh information on their acrimonious dispute has surfaced in a recent podcast interview. Faison Love, the actor from Meteor Man and Ace Comic, said that Shannon Sharpe was terrified when he intimated that he might run into Epps in person and get into a violent brawl with him. Faison said that Mike is well-liked even in his own Indiana during his appearance on the D-Lod-D YouTube channel. Love claimed to be terrified by Sharpe's knowledge of this. Mike shouldn't be on it. In your opinion, they're in his territory. They adore him. After exposing the nation's escalating gun VI culture, he declared a state of emergency. Love said that Sharpe was afraid because firearms were so easily accessible. The animation hinted at the depth of Indiana's devotion to Mike Epps, while confirming the state's fondness for him. Today's youth do not engage in video gaming. There's almost an emergency. It is awkward to have the firearms so near at hand. They don't provide you a different viewpoint on your life. Yes. In fact, Shannon men Mike Epps are strong because they love Mike regardless of his background. He's the uncle, the one that everyone believes they know because of how much he looks like me. Sharpe won't take Faison's admissions well. No, sure, everyone believes that this is disrespectful to Sharpe's remarks made during the dispute. Despite some supporter statements to the contrary posted on the internet, it was not appropriate for the comic to share this now that the conflict was finished. What really transpired then? Mike Epps said after Katt Williams' interview in January that he declined the Hall of Famer's request to come on his program, a move that upset the former NFL star. He declined the offer because he didn't want Sharpe to sit across from him and stare at his balls, according to the cartoon. After that, Mike called Sharpe names that were homophobic, which outraged online users. According to Hot New Hip Hop, I said, "No media, I'm not doing an interview with you in order for you to sit across from me and A's at my crotch. The NS is Shay F shot back. The N is asking that you give the media sister a wig and let me know if everything isn't MF." And naturally offended by Mike's remarks, Sharpe addressed the comedian on his show. The former teacher first emphasized that Mike was not asked to the interview. Then he threatened FS, saying that if he mentioned his name once more, he would expose their conversations and bring him down in response to Mike's homophobic remarks. The hosts of the Club Shay podcast called him a liar, dared him to repeat it in public, and said he was just envious of Katt Williams' show success. "If you mention my name once more, I'll send you a direct message DM. You're lying." But I don't give a damn about the rest of it. I hate doing this. I'm homosexual. If that's okay with you, I won't let you lie in my name, but I don't care since I won't pursue a lie. Sharp said, say my name again, and since you're lying, I'll reveal the direct message you said, that I invited you to a club. Ishe, you're a genuine thing now, and I'll make sure you mean it when I see you. I'm going to ask you to repeat what you've been saying, since you've been attempting to make jokes. Since you got upset over what Katt Williams did, EPS lost all composure after receiving Sharp's sharp response, and he rushed to the internet to demand that Sharp attend the All-Star game the next Friday. Actor also voiced his disapproval of Sharp's use of physical action as retaliation for a joke he had spoken. The comedian said that he was able to get in touch with Sharp because his name was brought up on the Katt Williams show. Fortunately, things didn't become worse, since the two went to a secret restaurant to work out their issues. NBA Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal is another well-known person who has publicly clashed with Shannon. Sports enthusiasts are still fascinated by Sharp, an NBA legend. Shaquille O'Neal's latest online spat. Furthermore, on May 13th of this year, Sharp addressed the issue on the Webby Awards red carpet. O'Neal and Sharpie got into a furious debate earlier over who should win the NBA MVP award. In 2024, O'Neal dropped an unexpected diss tune on May 10th, having a conversation on the red carpet on May 13th at the Webby Awards, which this year are celebrating the finest in online content. In an interview with People magazine, Sharp said that he was prepared to move on from the NBA star, and that he had no issues with him. When asked whether he had any further comments for O'Neal, 55-year-old Sharp said no. The Hall of Famer of the Pro Football League said, "It's okay with me, Shaq. I'm prepared to go on now that he's made his point." The two superstars got into a fight when Sharp said that O'Neal was envious of Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. On May 8th, Jokic earned his third NBA MVP crown in 4 years, and O'Neal interviewed him for Inside the NBA. O'Neal told Jokic that he thought Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder should have won the honor because of his reserved nature. Contrary to O'Neal's assertion, Sharpie disagreed, stating on his podcast The Nightcap that O'Neal, who only had one MVP trophy from his Hall of Fame NBA career, was in fact jealous of lengthier run of MVP wins. After confronting the Club Shay podcast presenter on Instagram for not being in the top 10 inches in his own industry, O'Neal decided to take matters into his own hands. In his second appearance, he defended his claims with some rhymes that attacked Sharp. According to O'Neal, Sharp is well behind me in the race, and Sharp's podcast is a load of you act more like a child than an adult, giving off the impression that you are not as real as a young rapper. Would you rather cut me off on Twitter while you were in the 3-foot / I was in 3 separate automobiles, and all I could see were money signs? What they are producing is a 3-dimensional approach. O'Neal raps and spits fire. Since you are not in my position, you cannot escape my degree. You seem to be a little child. Going back to Katt Williams, let's talk about his effort at self-defense. When Shannon used him as a prop, many in the business were alarmed by the widely shared interview, which exposed the rot that even celebrities are aware of, but would rather overlook for fear of having their shows canceled. Throughout his almost 3-hour conversation with Sharp, the seasoned comic disparaged many figures in the music and film industries. Katt spoke a lot about the people he doesn't like and the people who have wronged him in the past. He talked about Cedric the Entertainer allegedly ripping off his stand-up style, and his suspicions that Diddy sends out phony invites to parties. Steve Harvey, the TV program host, was his first target. Katt made a suggestion on his show The Steve Harvey Program that Steve Harvey had imitated Mark Curry's portrayal of Mark Cooper from Hanging with Mr. Cooper. He revealed to Sharp that Steve was the same Steve who saw Mark Curry's whole comedy routine before robbing him of everything. Now that he has a comedy where he plays a principal in a suit, Steve has the finest lineup in the business, and all black guys believe he's a man unit because of his high top fade. He said that Harvey would never make a good movie star, and that's why he would constantly plan comedic events and family conflicts. Then you wonder why he's not a household name in Hollywood. The comic attempted to imitate Harvey by stating, "I didn't want to be a movie star." Does this black individual harbor the same animosity against Bernie Mac? Hollywood receives 30,000 new screenplay submissions annually. Not a single one of them requests a black man who resembles Mr. Potato Head and is a dumb backwoods bumpkin. There isn't any range is crucial. Immediately, Katt teased Harvey and shifted her focus to Cedric the Entertainer. Cedric the Entertainer was singled out in the comic for special criticism, calling him a plagiarist and a walrus. Regarding your inquiry regarding whether or not you had copied Katt Williams' joke, Cedric answered he cited Katt as saying, "It doesn't line up. How on earth did I do that on TV in 2018? You did see me do it on Kings of Comedy and at the Comedy Store in 2019. What is out of alignment? Without Mark Curry's assistance, I could not have punching up and reached this level of television comedy." He turned to Steve Harr and then back to Cedric after accusing the comedian of stealing jokes, not living up to his reputation as an entertainer. He called him a multi-talented walrus. Katt responded, "We discovered he doesn't write jokes, sing, or dance. He performed on 4 comedy specials. Shannon, that bad. Neither Tub nor Netflix have access to them." Katt looked up at Ricky Smiley, then Katt phoned a radio DJ, who said that Katt was a liar, and that he was meant to play Money Mike in the 2002 movie. Friday after next, Smiley revealed that Katt was actually going to play a Santa Claus robber, but he changed his mind. He claimed that in order to oppose him, Smiley, Harvey, and Cedric got together. "It was because to Steve and Cedric that Ricky Smiley continued to turn up at all of my auditions. That's what he would tell anyone." Said, "There's a gang over there. They are aware of its nature." He continued, "Even Katt's fury could not be contained by him in combat." The comic then went after Diddy, claiming that in order to maintain his integrity, he turned down 4 offers totaling $50 million during his career. Numerous women have sued Diddy for alleged assaults, most notably Cassie, his ex-girlfriend. "I mean, wasn't I telling you about that virgin hole? And keeping my integrity intact, you have to tell P. Did he know? Because he wants to party," he stated. "I have receipts for everything I mentioned. As you can see, I did not tell you this, and you have to tell him I can express them so honestly because of this." Katt went on, he had taken great satisfaction earlier in the chat in being a virgin, a hole who has never swallowed a pea, and reaching this far in Hollywood. Subsequently, he made hints that Diddy enjoys behaving as if he is the owner of women, saying things like, "I don't even look at people's wives and stuff. I don't want to look at anything I don't want to have, because I know how blessed I am." Subsequently, he proceeded to criticize Diddy's longtime adversary Kevin Hart, saying, "If I look at it, I got it." The comedian speculates that Kevin Hart might be an industry plant, considering his remarkable success over his 15-year Hollywood career. No one in the company can recall ever having sold out, and Hart claimed to have concluded his agreements when he arrived. "Have we ever heard of a comic who moved to Los Angeles and within his first year there received a directing credit for a movie called Soul Plane and a sitcom on a network television show?" Katt Williams was asked about the fallout from the trial of Jonathan Major, the actor from Creed 3, who lost many big roles after being found guilty of assault and harassment in a domestic violence trial. "Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I thought," Katt Williams said, "that anytime they make you into that position, part of that contract is you do understand whenever we want to take you down, we can." He also mentioned that he hates to come across as a petty individual for picking AP apart Lies way, but he wanted to set the record straight. He went on to say that for a period of 5 years, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was one that had been on my desk. "When did you start appreciating a large nose, and when did you start appreciating a small head and a large jaw? Since when? If anything looks beautiful, then everything looks good." In response to a question about whether or not he had ever encountered jeers during a stand-up show, the comedian acknowledged that he had, but he also voiced his belief that other comedians should face jeers more frequently, and cited Michael Blacken as evidence that in the comedy industry, audience opinions are the only ones that matter. Not that at all. You, the writer, "I don't think any comedian has ever been fired either. That is supposed to be a lesson most comedians never learn." The person said, "Michael Blacken, a real African without a fake accent, is angry with me because all I did was give him the best advice of his life. He was wearing a dirty dashiki, so I told him that he needed to dress appropriately to be in the position he is trying to claim to be regarded as the king of comedy among African comedians. You have to put in a lot of work, sir. After following my advice, these people completely transform, and they hate me for it." When discussing Ricky Smiley, the well-known Hollywood gatekeeper Tyler Perry also got his comeuppance, stating that he wouldn't work again unless he played a character wearing a dress sharp. In response to a question about why he had put anything similar in his contract, he claimed that Tyler Perry and Ricky Smiley were more adept at portraying attractive women than men. "I think the best actor should have the best role." Later in the conversation, Tyler Perry, who has portrayed the divisive comedic character Media in 13 films, including one animated feature, stated that "We have high expectations for him." He asserted that anyone might walk through a mall undetected, and that none of the people who have contributed to his performances are well known. "It's obvious that you're keeping these gates kitties, so stop wondering why people keep calling you gatekeepers. Instead, put your people on. And if you're gay in there, put some other gay people on." After that, he moved quickly from acting to rapping, and Absurd was his next target. The comedian made several accusations over the long podcast, episode 1 of which was that Trump was a member of the Illuminati. He claimed that a pivotal moment occurred when we were both invited to an Illuminati event and had to make decisions. As a result, we were all on equal footing, and one of us had to chop off all of our hair to perform the Seaburn exercise. They also mentioned that the next man would receive $200 million, since they would award him $10 million for each of the 20 films he finished. Of those, one proved to be absurd. And Katt Williams was the one who went too far and made fun of Lud's wife. He called Udoy Bingu the fair-skinned, ugly, and fade wife of Lud. In response, Luda did a freestyle over Kanye West's Devil in a new dress, saying that the Illuminati was never involved, and that I only ever permitted it to happen. When I was leaving parties, the freestyle did quite well online. Because I'm married and have children, I've never really given life's evolution any thought. Chaser doesn't reply to likes. Tear John Singleton, you never had to flex because you earned every single paycheck from Fast Furious SL sideburns. And Afro, yes, that is my signature. Growing addictions. Comedians. Gug You, the podcast host, afterwards acknowledged that there was a lot of resistance following Shannon's lengthy interview. Have you not seen the media? When asked if there had been any backlash since revealing his sexual orientation, Sharp told The Hollywood Reporter to be prepared because it's going to come. In athletics, I knew I would be disliked by the fans of the opposition team, but I never thought would be this mean. I would be lying if I claimed I didn't think this gifted player, who spent 14 seasons in the NFL, mostly with the Denver Broncos, would arrive. He currently regularly appears on ESPN's First, along with Stephen A. Smith, who was not producing his podcast. He told The Hollywood Reporter that he was more offended by the term gay when it was applied to a straight guy, and when people questioned his constancy. He also talked on the impact of social media, using the example of a man who made it to the White House in 2016, and how people began to trust what he said on a regular basis. Sharper brought up the fact that after the Katt Williams interview, comedians like Eddie Griffin and Mike EPC have been making jokes about Sharp's sexual orientation. They have both since expressed regret. If you can convince people of something even when it isn't true, they will accept it as truth. It is not appropriate to label someone as homosexual. Jealousy and envy. I have nothing against homosexuals. Live your life as you see fit, to each his own. On his podcast, he received harsh criticism, but he persisted in writing. After going viral with the Katt interview, he was able to draw in Insecure actress Amanda Seales, and Oscar winner Monica. LeBron James and Oprah Winfrey, he disclosed, would be his ideal podcast interview topics. Eddie Murphy and Dave Chappelle. Is Shannon Sharpe acting in his own unique way, or is he serving higher masters? That's all we have to say right now. Please share your comments in the space below. Till then, thank you for observing.